All right, it's time for another Gators Breakdown Plus member chat. So let's get it going. Let's get it going. Still licking the wounds a little bit from Florida going down to the hands of the Georgia Bulldogs 24-20 for a game that was right there for the taking late. And the Gators not being able to get it done. 5 straight wins for the Bulldogs. Not easy losing to them. Not easy. Get tired of it. Something's got to change. And we know change is on the way. But first time since, Billy Napier got fired that we've had a game to talk about. So many angles of that one, of course, with Billy Gonzales taking over and all the offensive side of the ball changes as far as the staff goes and some fallout after that game, of course, with Dallas Wilson now being out for the rest of the year. We can get into what that means. So you guys can hop in. Let's chat about it. If you don't want to talk, I think there's that little chat box on the side as well. So you can get some of your comments in here and we'll get your thoughts for another Gators Breakdown Plus member chat. But certainly thanks for hopping in and listen to what we got to say here. But certainly, day after the game, go back and look at it. I've rewatched most of it. Some of what I said in the post game, like I said, not a lot of wholesale changes on offense, some different tendencies and all that. We can get into it. We can get into it here. We can get into some snap counts from Pro Football Focus and some grades and all that, how that went too. But and then some news as well. Besides the Dallas Wilson news, SEC news, of course, with Auburn firing Hugh Freeze. So the coaching carousel, especially in the conference for the SEC, getting a lot more crazy here. Plenty of ways to go with this one, but we can discuss the game and some coaching stuff if you guys want to. But let me go ahead and get Highway Gator in here. And Ryan to be on deck as well.
Hey, Dave.
What up, Highway?
Oh, I mean, I don't think I can be hurt anymore this year on the bright side. I mean, this coaching staff's got me pretty callous, but I mean, in all fairness, Georgia did look like the last unbeatable rival. I mean, Tennessee and Florida State both look plenty beatable. So there is that to look forward to.
Yeah. Somebody brought that up in the post game, and talking about a lot of hope moving forward and games to win. And I mean, we've seen this team, and I think that's another reason, especially given the Georgia game, but how this season has played out is Florida has been there and been there in almost every game this year. And I put it out earlier today, but I'll have to find the exact stats here in just a second. I'll let you guys take over, and I'll go back and find the stats. But the fourth quarter stats here, Florida's been in all these games, and the fourth quarter has just been terrible. This is a team that, we can't keep going back to the well and, talking about that winning streak of last year. But in a lot of, when I posted that stat of, the opponent dominating fourth quarter and Florida not doing anything in the fourth quarter, it was like, well, this team just hasn't learned how to win. But we go back to that November run last year and so many pieces returning. And I thought, look, every year, every team is different every year. So I completely get that. But with the LSU and the Ole Miss and just a streak at the end of last year, those weren't easy games. Florida had to win those games in the fourth quarter. So what we've seen so far this year is a complete opposite of what we saw in November of last year, of this team just finding a way to win in November. Now it's just like they're finding ways to lose. They're finding ways to not hang on. They're just falling all over themselves in the fourth quarter. And it's really, really frustrating seeing how it plays out this way, because we see how close this team has been, and they can't get it out of their own way in the clutch moments and the clutch situations.
Well, I agree with you, but I love the going for it on fourth down in the fourth quarter from Billy G.
I did too.
I love that. You know, I like what is a field goal going to do for you? Put you up 6 instead of 3. I mean, it's still a 1 possession game. Go out there and put the dagger in them. And I mean, you're already playing with house money. You know, you're probably not going to have a job at Florida this time next year. So, I mean, why not? So you're up. You know what? 3 or 4 points on the number 5 team in the country. Yeah, go for it on fourth down. Put the dagger in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess and I agree with you, by the way. I would have the other way to look at that is, all right, well, you're up by 6, and if Georgia does score a touchdown, well, all you need is a field goal and not a touchdown. So I get that, but I'm with you where this team has been. And I mean, look, if I'm not mistaken, you guys correct me here, but wasn't it 2nd and 2 on that drive? I think KD Daniels had like an 8-yard run. So it was 2nd and 2. So it was 2nd and 2. It was 3rd and 1. It was 4th and 1. I mean, going back and looking at it, you're thinking, okay, you've got to be able to get 1 or 2 yards in a 3-play sequence there, and it didn't happen. But I agree. To me, I didn't mind it at all. I mean, you explained the situation perfectly. I mean, you're playing with house money. You are trying to go beat your rival, and you get that first down. It's at least more time taken off the clock, and then maybe you go out by 6, and then. And that's another, I think when you think about it out loud that way, all right, say you get it, but you have to end up kicking a field goal anyway. But then there's not a lot of time left. So if Georgia does score a touchdown, you don't have a lot of time left after that. So to me, that's why I do agree. I think just the timing of it, where it fell in, I don't blame him at all for going for that fourth down. Go for the kill shot. Go try and beat Georgia. Go try and beat a rival, and and try and build some momentum for another late season run. But to me, that was the best path to a victory is if you convert that 4th and 1.
Well, and like you said, I mean, we've been in all these games. You got to feel like it's just a matter of time before the dam breaks, you know?
Yeah. You certainly think so.
Dave, for me, yesterday, it was a disappointing loss, and just the way it transpired. But for the first time in over a year, maybe close to 2, I felt more energized and more into the game. It felt like, I mean, there was literally nothing to lose. I felt that way as a fan. Like, we can go out there and just whatever happens, because all these guys are out the door. So, and it looked like the team kind of felt that way too. Like, they don't have this monkey on their back anymore, or we got to play for our head coach's job. They actually went out there and, I mean, they played free. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't perfect. You can see that our issues that have stemmed down from Billy Napier and throughout the entire coaching staff, and just everything that's gone wrong and the reason he's fired are still there. But I don't know, it at least looked a little better. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt a little different. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, it still wasn't the result we wanted, but it just felt like it was a little bit more of a relief. I walked away from this loss being like, well, they're the number 5 team in the nation. We gave it all we got. The better team won. And granted, there were some very, very iffy calls that helped them win.
For sure.
But I mean, I guess that's just part of it. I mean, it sucks. To me, the incomplete pass that they called that was a fumble, and they overruled it and called it back as an incomplete pass, was worse than the catch no catch, because the catch no catch was initially called not a catch. And I mean, there were several angles that made it look like it was a catch, but there was a couple of them that if you slowed it down super slow-mo, that there might have been a spot where the ball touched the ground. So I guess I can kind of get it. And at the same time, DJ's got to make a better throw there, and we're not talking about that. So, I mean, it is what it is. I kind of like the play calling. Like you mentioned earlier, it wasn't super crazy. You could tell it was a lot less motion in the first half, a lot more 4 and 5 wide. And then they kind of realized when they weren't, but at halftime they made a lot of adjustments and gotten a little bit more of what they're used to running, a lot more 11 personnel, more 12. So like I said, I don't know. It sucks the way it ended, but I can't be too disappointed in the way they played because it could have been a lot worse given the situation that the program's under right now.
Yeah, they came out with some fire for sure. I mean, like you said, it was probably the most invested I've been in a game all season because I didn't have to worry about Billy being on the sidelines calling something stupid.
Exactly. Like I had there's no stakes, so it was just like I could watch this game freely and not having to worry about, if we lose it, hey, it's Billy Gonzales, it's our interim coach. I'm not going to blame them for losing against the top 5, the Georgia Bulldogs. One of the best teams in the country, allegedly.
I mean, take what you guys just said. Get away from the referee stuff, and just go towards purely the game for a second. And you're right. There was many reasons to be invested with what the team was showing out there. They didn't kill themselves except for execution. As I said, take the referee stuff out of it. Yes, was that an angle? Certainly, but go to the football aspect of it. We didn't see, boneheaded decisions really. There weren't too many guys on the field. The process looked cleaner. Now it didn't still amount to a whole lot that. Score wise, that was different, but you didn't see the dumb mistakes. That was the easiest way to put it. The dumb mistakes that we had seen, be a detriment to this team up to this point. We didn't see that. So at least the operation was a little bit cleaner. It kept Florida in the game. They weren't shooting themselves in the foot except for the execution part of it.
I feel like the situational football was like light years ahead of what we've seen the last 4 years.
Yeah, to me, it came down to an actual, the better team won. The more talented team won. Maybe not necessarily the better in every aspect, but the more talented team won. And it wasn't, well, we should have won that game. There's a lot of could have, but there's no real should have won the games because we made plenty of mistakes, just like Georgia made plenty of mistakes. So, I mean, it was a hard-fought rivalry game, and at the end of the day, the more talented team won, and that's how I'm looking at it. Like you said, take the refs out of it.
Yeah, they made the plays. They made the plays.
Right.
I'm gonna go to that fourth quarter stat right quick, and I'll share it that I've shared earlier. Gators in the fourth quarter so far this season against FBS opponents. So Florida, guys, this is ridiculous. Florida's averaging 49 yards in the fourth quarter for the entire season. They are averaging 2.86 points in the fourth quarter. That string of, let's go back. We'll go in reverse order. Georgia, Florida scored 3 points. Against Mississippi State, 10 points. 3 games or Texas A&M, no points in the fourth quarter. Texas, no points in the fourth quarter. Miami, no points in the fourth quarter. LSU, no points in the fourth quarter. South Florida, 7 in the fourth quarter.
So what do you think the reasoning is? Just poor. I don't know. You could go a number of reasons there.
Yeah, I think you
could blame strength and conditioning. I mean, you could blame predictable play calling. So by that time, the teams have honed in on what you're doing. I mean, it's a bad coaching staff. I mean, it's bad coaching staff. These are the results. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're looking for somebody else.
I really don't feel like it's a bad coaching staff because, like I said, I feel like the situational football got way better against Georgia, and the only reason why we didn't score that many points in the fourth quarter against Georgia was because we were going for it on fourth down, which, like I said before, I was happy with. I'd rather go for the dagger against the number 5 team in the country than sit there and kick a field goal, and if all else, plays out the same, we still lose. We get that field goal, we still lose. We get 7, it's a whole different ballgame.
Good point. You're right. You definitely could have had 3. so it wouldn't have been, as that, but still, I mean, only 3 points in the fourth quarter. Florida had chances, to go.
I'm not saying it's excusable.
Oh, I know.
I'm just saying that's why.
Yeah. Opponents are so Florida's averaging 49 yards in the fourth quarter. Opponents are averaging 117. Florida averaging 2.86 in the fourth quarter. Opponents are averaging 7.71. So, I don't want to crap on the defense. Not what I'm trying to do, but the opponents are making things happen in the fourth quarter, and the Florida offense is not.
Well, the offense has been so bad all year. The defense has been on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, much more than they should be. So, I mean, once again,
you go back to how the game played out, and I mentioned this in the post game. Georgia was on the field almost the entire first half.
Yeah, and then we completely reversed that in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, so maybe Florida's defense tired in the fourth quarter with that, but still, they were playing well up until the failed fourth down, and I don't know if they got deflated or and
that's what it felt like to me. That call just kind of took the wind out of the whole team. Like that stop for Georgia, it just kind of changed the momentum completely in that game. But it's like y'all said earlier, you can't blame them. I mean, I like the call, or I like going for it. Maybe not the call in particular, but I like the call to go for it there. It's just it didn't work out.
We'll go snap counts because there's some asking about what's different. Maybe what was different with Ryan O'Hara and Russ Callaway being in the booth and being the play caller. 59 snaps. DJ Lagway, Jake Slaughter, Austin Barber played. Hayden Hansen still played 58 snaps. But when you go down the list to find the next tight end, you had Tony Livingston playing 17 snaps. So that lets you know not a lot of times there were two tight ends on the field at the same time. And even this, I'd have to really go back and look, how many times were Hansen and Livingston on the field at the same time for Livingston 17 snaps. So certainly when you look at it, 12 personnel, not as much to be found here with Tony Livingston only having 17 snaps. Amir Jackson only had 3, and of course one of those being Lagway missing him down the field. But when we look at maybe what was different, Hayden Hansen, like I said, 58 snaps out of 59, but with Livingston only having 17, not a lot of 12 personnel out there.
I thought the play calling was better. I thought it looked better than it has in 4 years. That's just,
Yeah, I agree with that. The play calls were, I feel like we did a lot less, like Dave brought up earlier, a lot less motion, a lot less putting a running back in the fifth wide receiver slot or a tight end in the fifth wide receiver slot. I feel like we ran from the gun a lot more, less pistol.
Lagway running.
The QB draw. Adding the QB draw. I mean, the perfect play call there. The 2 times you read it, especially was it the fourth down or was it the third down? I can't remember, but regardless,
the big one, it was 2nd and 20, and he gained 22.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We had the penalty. That's right. And he got it back. But yeah, I mean, to me, it looked smoother. The flow. I mean, there wasn't no wasted timeouts. I mean, everything about it offensively was better, except for, like you said, the execution. The quarterback play was still.
Yeah, Lagway with a 49.8 PFF grade, 44.1 passing grade, and that's and guys, that's without any interceptions.
Yeah,
he just hasn't been good. I mean,
it's guys. What gets on me, and you guys probably know me, and I think I've banged the drum a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. Heading into the season, I probably look foolish. I know I'm not the only one, but I'll hit myself a little bit with it. Surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, but just going back and looking at it all, it's hard to quantify how much all that time he missed really matters. I mean, I didn't think it was going to matter all that much. I can't put it all on that for his struggles, we don't, it's really hard to quantify, but it's certainly having an effect. How much better would he be if he had a full offseason where he's fully healthy? But we know he didn't get to do much at all in the offseason. It's got to have some effect to what we're seeing from DJ Lagway. So, there's been so much talk about mechanics, and of course, those are going to be nowhere near as good as what they could be with all the time that he missed. Put on some weight because of the injuries as well. It's just hard to pinpoint I still think that's the main reason he's not who we thought he could be, just because of all the time missed. But it's really hard to quantify. What did we put too much on him after season one? Is it he's still only in the second season? There's a lot to learn. Yeah, I fully admit that. I do think he'd be much better without the time, but I think it's fair to ask, where the issues are. I don't want to chalk it all up to the missed time. I think there probably has to be some, is he as good as we thought he would be? But it's just so hard to quantify the time missed. You don't really know where to tip the scale of why is DJ Lagway struggling so much.
I mean, it's a little bit of everything.
It probably is. I mean, to take the easy way out, it probably is.
I mean, he probably isn't as good as or going to be as good as we all hoped he could be. I mean, not saying he can't still, be really, really good next year. I'm just probably expectations were a little too high. And then, missing time, all that time definitely didn't help. And then you factor in that the offense isn't that good. The offensive line definitely wasn't that good. Here we are.
I mean, to me, it's a Billy Napier issue. I don't feel like the quarterback position has been developed for AR5 or AR15. I don't feel like Mertz was ever really developed. I mean, what we got at Wisconsin was pretty much what we got at Florida. And now Lagway he's regressed. Like, he doesn't look anywhere near the quarterback that we saw last year. And going back to, like we said earlier, I feel like the coaching staff without Billy Napier is more competent than the coaching staff with Billy Napier. And I hate to just be the guy that's like, oh, Billy Napier, but there's a thread here. And I feel like that's something you can point to is, well, the guy who's in charge, and who, ran the offense and was brought on Mertz and was excited to have Anthony Richardson. We just never saw the quarterback get developed under Billy Napier at all. I mean, mechanics is somebody who was a quarterback. Mechanics is something that's you should be able to coach pretty easily, but I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I go back to the mechanics too. It's just with all the time he missed this offseason, how was he supposed to get better there?
Well, I mean, you can do a lot of no contact stuff with mechanics,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think all the criticism, all the questions are fair. It's just, I think, what is the base of it? Probably, is what's really is. It's just another question. Why does it look the way it does?
I agree with what y'all were saying about it. I agree with what y'all were saying about it being a combination of all the things, but I think to me the obvious, connecting factor and all the stuff that I said is Billy Napier. And like I said, I hate to just be the guy beating the drum, Billy Napier, but that's the only consistency.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that he's part of the major problem. And I agree, he hasn't really developed. I mean, you looking back, Mertz was solid, but it wasn't very productive. He completed high amount of his passes, but we didn't score a lot of points. It wasn't just this super great offense. I agree. He hasn't really excelled at developing quarterbacks. So
I'm going to be the dissenting opinion here, although I agree. I agree Billy is sure to blame. I think that's an easy place to go. I don't think Billy is the reason DJ Lagway can't hit a wide open player 10 yards down the field. And he's done it consistently all year. This isn't this isn't crazy. I think it's just he's not as good as we thought he was, and that's just the fact. He wasn't even actually that great last year. He was a deep ball merchant who, got some exciting big plays, which was really fun as a fan because we were used to Mertz, who never threw the ball more than 5 yards down the field. It seemed like. Then we had DJ come in, and he had two great receivers who were awesome at catching deep balls, and so he had that. This year, he doesn't have the deep ball guy, and he's everything else. So he's not hitting the deep balls, but everything else is the same. So it's 2 years of the same. He can't hit open receivers. And at what point in time do we just say, you know what, maybe he's just not as good as what we thought he was?
Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly fair.
It's hard to argue that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, you don't really, I would have loved, I think that's why the question's still out there is because he didn't have the year to go hit on mechanics and, take a lot of what he learned and go hit the field with it. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm making excuses for him because I just don't know the answer. I mean, I was pretty critical after the Georgia game. I didn't no need to rehash a whole lot of that stuff, but yeah, I mean, he missed some things that he shouldn't have missed. I mean, it was inexcusable for what we saw out there, and we can keep going back to Will's mechanics are bad and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, but at some point, I mean, talent's got to take over at some point and just hit one of these wide open. Hit Tank, on the J Mike throw. I mean, he had time to set his feet. And,
yes,
and I know he said something that J Mike was a fourth progression. If he sees him any earlier, he has him. I mean, JP Gator did a great, showing the all 22, and he is open once he hits about 15, 20 yards down the field. It's obvious he's going to be open. I don't know how fast the progression's supposed to be. I would think a little, fast enough to see that because there's no way you're supposed to throw the ball that late anyway. So at he might be your fourth read, but you probably got to get to that fourth read by the time that he would have been open in that play. So I mean, he's open in the play design, and he's open when you finally roll out of the pocket and see him down the field. If he just takes a little bit of time and sets his feet, he gets enough on that throw, and who knows where the game goes after that. But it was a clean pocket. If he sees him on time, it's a big play, maybe a touchdown, and then instead we get the fumbling all over himself and almost makes the catch anyway. J. Michael Sturdivant. So, but yeah, I mean, I think all these questions are fair.
I think the other thing to consider, and I think that was spot on, but I think the other thing to consider is, he's still one of the, he's the biggest recruit we've landed in a very long time. So obviously there's a lot of hope that goes along with that. But I think one of the things I said yesterday in the chat was, if this was Tramel Jones, is anybody remotely saying, oh yeah, it's just Billy Napier is the problem? I don't think so. I think if you look at this from any other quarterback who's not the second coming of Tim Tebow in our minds, you start to be a little bit more critical, which I think is fair. I'm hopeful that it is a coaching problem. Obviously, I'd love for him to still win us a nat.
Oh, lost you there.
Well, just to go back to his Tramel Jones point, Tramel Jones didn't have a year in the system already. That's all I would say about that. No, I wouldn't say that Billy Napier is the problem there. I would say Billy Napier is the problem if he already had a year in the system, though.
It is funny when people bring up Tramel, and look, if it keeps continuing to go on like this, all right, maybe you give a shot. But as you guys have outlined so well up to this point, the development is certainly in question at the quarterback spot for this staff, for Billy Napier, who's no longer here. If there is, I think if you have that in your mind, why is there so much thought that Tramel Jones can go out there and do better? Like, if we're questioning the development of AR and Mertz and Lagway, why is it supposed to be better with the backup, the current backup quarterback?
Hey, didn't you see the season opener?
Hey,
What was
Dave?
that Steve Carey used to say? Backup quarterback's always the most.
Always the most popular player.
The most popular player. Yep.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, great show as always. Good to see the fellas on here.
Yeah.
Just going back to what we were talking about earlier, about the play calling. I believe it is an indictment in and of itself that we have a guy that's never called a game before come out and
Ray,
play
how are
a
you
more
doing?
call a more efficient
I'm gonna dine in.
game.
Oh, hold on.
And
Perfect. Thank you so
than a
much.
guy
Appreciate it.
than a guy that did for 4 years. Hello.
Yeah. I got you. I was sorry. I was trying to control the other sound there.
Oh,
For a second.
no worries. And and another thing, there's a couple things that's kind of hit me, especially this game. We sit there and
How are you?
watch this offense and watch this in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
We talked about these points. In the urban teams, we got stronger as games went on because I think mentally they were trained for it, and I think that's something that we're lacking right now. We just die. We die out in the fourth quarter, and in that sense, I think I think it's all part of this lack of identity that we have. These teams, it seems like 4 years in now, they don't know any different, and it's really really discouraging. And as far as Tramel Jones goes, I'm like you. I was raised with Spurrier, and to me, this would have been the perfect game to have a package for him because they would have never seen it coming. Plus, he's healthier. I think he's on a better set of legs than DJ. Throw him in there on that 4th and 1. Let him run it. Let him get it. I know a lot of people disagree, because he hasn't played that much, in games. But to me, this would have been. Plus, what did we have to lose by the way DJ was playing? I'll pause and listen. Thank you.
Yeah, to state that point there is just, if you haven't believed in development up to this point, why would it be any better with Tramel? But to your point, a change of pace, package, as a special thing here or there, sure. I mean, especially to your point, could it catch Georgia off guard somewhat in that regard? You had just something special that it just completely have not prepared for in preparation for the last 2 weeks of this game. I want to go back to one of your previous points, though, and like you said, here we are, year 4, and not just for this year's team, but in totality, what's been the identity? I mean, we've had a thought that this identity should be this ball control, lean on your offensive line, lean on your run game, and that'll get you a long way, but haven't been able to do that. You got Lagway. The identity was, okay, maybe now you can open it up and use these receivers you have. But it's just like it's a team that just doesn't know what they are supposed to be.
Well, it seems like, if I've always had this thought that when Billy was calling plays, it's almost like he outsmarted himself. And the team is going to take the mentality of their leader.
Yeah.
And I hate to pile on the guy, and I know he's gone, and we're on to bigger and better things coming up here. But and to me, that if there was ever an identity, that's it. And we really need to shake that. And it's and keep in mind with this guy that just with O'Hara calling his first game, we even with our top 3 or top 4 wide receivers out, we still had guys open. They were clean. They were shedding. And we had opportunities, and that's what hurts so much.
Yeah. Let's go there because I did want to go there. There's 3 angles I want to go with wide receiver. First, let's go to today's news. Dallas Wilson missing the rest of the season. Stinks. Saw potential in that Texas game. Hadn't seen, much outside of that. I think he had a touchdown against Texas A&M, I believe. And then the emergence of Trey Wilson against Georgia, of course, wondering where he's been in recent weeks. Had to have somebody step up. Somebody did step up. And then with that, let's extend that somebody needing to step up because now Dallas Wilson out for the year. We don't know how long VB3 is going to be out. Aiden Mizell, who knows as well. So you're going to need some other guys step up. And when I go and talk about, guys needing to make plays in the critical moments, as we were talking about the fourth quarter earlier, I mean, you had TJ Abrams with a slant, hit the ball right in his hands and he drops it. So these guys like TJ Abrams are going to get more opportunity. They're going to be on the field more because of the realities at the injuries at the wide receiver spot right now. So you got, we've wondered, where's Tank Hawkins? Where's TJ Abrams? Where's Deshaun Montgomery? Even going further than that. And it's, well, you had your chance. And that was a big, big play. And it hits you in the hands and TJ Abrams drops it. So, that's the three angles right there. Dallas Wilson, Trey Wilson, and, somebody else needing to step up. And you had TJ Abrams there, and it's a big play in a critical moment, and he drops the pass. So the wide receiver spot.
That's why Hansen is lined up wide out there.
Yeah.
We can't trust any of the other guys.
Yep. So, that's so many storylines from that group right now coming out of the game against Georgia.
I feel like it's so obvious to me, like what Mayaka just said about, Billy trying to, outthink himself and just thinks himself into a corner. Like Trey Wilson's been there all season.
Yeah.
We saw what he did against Georgia. There's no reason he couldn't do that against Texas A&M or Texas or Mississippi State or any of the other teams. But, Billy just trying to scheme something up. And it's like, well, you don't really need to scheme. You just need to get the ball in your most talented player's hands and they'll do the rest. And I feel like that was a huge part of the game plan, was just get the ball in Trey's hands and let him, do his thing. And look what happens. He's got 14 catches or something.
Yeah.
He can run vertical routes. It's amazing.
Who'd have thought it?
Yeah, I know.
And going through the play breakdown, I mean, Hayden Hansen was on the field for, like I said, 58 total plays out of 59. 25 of them were passes, 5 of them pass blocking, and 28 run blocking. So,
yeah, I mean, he wasn't. He would have had, 7 targets if this was Billy Napier calling the offense. He probably had a couple, and heck, he made one like amazing one-handed grab out of bounds, so it didn't count, but it was still a great catch. But yeah, I mean, I think with the way that Abrams and like I said earlier, there's a reason I questioned it and cussed it and got so mad at why we were always running, 4 wide out there, and Hansen would be our 4th wide receiver. But I mean,
yeah,
you got to catch the ball when it's thrown to you. It's that simple. That's your job. That's your wide receiver. You got to make the play.
Well, and to piggyback onto that too, we're already established. We're short of wide receivers. You got a freak on the sidelines there in Amir Jackson.
Yep.
What was it? I'm trying to remember which game it was. Scores a touchdown. Next thing you know, he might as well be a face on a milk carton afterwards, which I don't. It baffles me. When you need playmakers, put your playmakers out there to make plays. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he was open. Lagway missed him, but he was on the field for 3 total plays.
I believe that was Texas A&M you're thinking of, because I remember that touchdown.
Right on the goal line. Yeah.
Gone.
But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
what you guys think about Dallas Wilson being out for the rest of the year?
It sucks. I hope he stays.
Yeah.
And
I think so. I mean, Hirsch has been talking in here in the chat, but we kind of all know the reasons he came back home. It was to be close to home. So now, don't get me wrong, Miami and FSU can throw that card at him as well.
Yeah.
So but I think there's a reason he came to Florida. Now it is a different staff, and I did think this staff did a great job of keeping the communication with him and keeping that opportunity open. And when it arose, Florida was able to get him away from Oregon. But I would lean he does, just kind of knowing the situation of why he came to Florida. I think it would take a lot to get him to leave Florida.
I mean, do you really want to go to Miami after what happened Saturday?
Well,
Are they really better an option?
I guess you got to see who they get quarterback next year.
Yeah, it depends on who they portal quarterback for. What if it's DJ Lagway?
Oh,
I'm
Bro,
kidding,
don't even
kidding.
do that.
I know.
I'm kidding.
Anything else about the game, guys? Looking at Florida, Georgia. I mean, anything about defense? Of course, like I said, we said, hung in there. Started the game off Georgia with a strong opening drive, settled down, really played well for the next, till about halfway through the fourth quarter, and then kind of just in the clutch couldn't continue what they were doing, but strong effort for them. Good to see Devin Moore out there, and him making that interception. I think the play that still bugs me the most, and I somehow forgot to talk about it in the post game, but going back and watching it, is Jordan Castell's opportunity to really play that ball in the end zone, and just letting the guy catch it and hitting him instead of. To me, all he had to do was play the ball, and it was a great play by Georgia. They faked the screen, throw it over the top, and Castell's got to get over. Yeah, that's his job. I thought he was there in time to make a play on the ball, and instead of trying to let the receiver catch it and dislodge it. So, high tackle number game for him, and he had the almost great play of the attempted pass that was ruled a fumble there from Gunnar Stockton right before halftime. But man, just going back and watching that play the ball, man, and it stops a touchdown. It stops a touchdown.
I mean, I don't feel like you can say anything more about the defense than what's already been said. I mean, they've kept us in every game this year. They
kind of been the same story.
Yeah, I mean, you're only going to keep a team that talented out of the end zone for so long. Offense has, like I said, if we get that fourth down and then go up 10 on Georgia in the fourth quarter, a whole different ball game when Georgia gets the ball back instead of them being up by 3. But like I said, you can't really say anything else about the defense. They've kept us. They've done their job for the most part.
Yeah. What's the receiver's name that you got the transfer from USC? What was I'm drawing a blank.
Zachariah Branch.
Yeah, Branch. I mean, he killed us yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
We couldn't cover him at all.
I'm glad you brought that up. When I was watching the replay today, what he was able to do, and then what Trey Wilson was able to do. Remember, those guys are in the same year, and those were 2 electric freshmen 2 seasons ago. It was those guys just came on the scene, and Branch was at USC, and it was Trey Wilson was doing really good things as a freshman too, and then to see him on the field and both have really good games yesterday. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Zachariah Branch was certainly a difference maker. And look, Colby Young out for Georgia, for at least the rest of the regular season. That happened the game before, so didn't really know how Georgia was going to adjust at the receiver spot. And it was certainly, all right, let's get Branch the ball even more and let him do his thing after the catch. Didn't
we have a linebacker on Zachariah Branch for one of his catches?
Yes.
Probably.
Graham.
Yeah, there was one time I remember I was talking about it in the post game last night where, and no fault of Graham. I mean,
You can't expect him to cover Branch.
I can't. So, but it's still, credit to Georgia for putting Florida's defense in that situation.
Exactly. I mean,
geez, I didn't know. I just glanced at PFF grades. Miles Graham had a grade of 43.5. But
yeah, they put him in coverage a lot.
I was about to say, because of that, his coverage grade was 32.1.
Mm-hmm.
So his tackling grade 73.1. That was in the green. So what we want to see.
Right.
But it was the coverage grade that brought his overall PFF grade down a lot. I'd like to see, I don't know. Okay, so the stats that PFF has for him gave, I guess when he was in coverage, Georgia gained 98 yards. and along a 42, and that might have been the Zachariah Branch play. Was that 42-yarder?
I think it was.
Yeah, there's that catch and run. So, but that's closer to the line of scrimmage. Miles Graham is doing his job.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard
I'm not going to fault him.
Right.
For
I mean,
that.
me going over his grades here. I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to explain the game.
Yeah. Like you said, you credit Georgia for getting that matchup.
Yeah, right.
That's their job as an offensive coordinator, is to exploit the weakness on the defense. And a linebacker in coverage is always going to be a weakness on most defenses. I mean,
hey, Dave, I think it's a lot easier said than done, but the way this defense is playing, the biggest way to help this defense out is to sustain offensive drives.
Yeah.
And, I think it's a great thing that we took all the, a lot of the motion out. It simplified this offense where the guys could stop thinking and react and play. And if we can somehow, this is a first game for this offensive coordinator.
Right.
I like the old thing where the old adage, the most improvement you see is from game 1 to game 2. Well, this is his game 1. So let's see what he does next week. Maybe we can sustain drives, and then we won't have to have a defense get us gassed.
It'll be a huge indictment of Billy if he comes out and just calls a game.
It already is. I mean, it was already a better called game, in my opinion, than anything we saw under Billy Napier. I mean, even if it was simpler, it was still smoother operation. It looked better. I mean, the first half, maybe not so much. You could tell they tried to do some different things, and it just didn't really work. And the quarterback didn't execute the way he could. I mean, there was a zone read play that he completely made the wrong read of. It cost us. I think we ended up having a punt on that.
Yeah, I think it was the 3rd and 2.
Yeah,
and you should have.
But for the most part, we did try to do some different things the first half, like we talked about earlier. We just didn't execute them real well. Got back to a little bit more of our normal offense with a few wrinkles, but a lot more running the ball, a lot more zone running than we'd tried in the first half. So, and it worked. I mean, like I said, it was a lot smoother. It looked better.
Can we talk for a second about how much of a beast Jaden Ball is? If there's one player for Portal, it's Jaden Ball. I'd take Jaden Ball over DJ Lagway at this point because he's just he's an animal.
Yeah, PFF grade of 70.5, 70.2 on the run scale, and 80.7 in pass blocking there for him.
I was about to say, he's great in pass blocking.
Right. And it's hard to know. Like, that's why I don't like to go overall PFF grade a whole lot, because, look, his main job is to run the ball. He's got a 70.2 grade there. That's good. And pass blocking, 80.7. They have a run blocking grade for Jaden Ball, and that's 59.5. So, of course, that's bringing the average down. I have to go back and just look at each play that they would consider a run block. I mean, okay.
It must be those two DJ Lagway runs.
Right. It has to be, I guess. So, I'm not – that's why PFF it's good. It's a barometer, but, just at least I think know where to look. And I'm just going to look at his pure run grade of a 70.2, and that's pretty good. So
you can't even how can you grade his blocking on those were QB draws?
Exactly.
I mean, there was nobody for him to block. I mean, it had to be like on a sweep or something that
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Without knowing the specifics of the exact plays that he's getting a run blocking grade on, I can't fault him too much there. So but yeah, I mean, just still and I went over his run log last night, and he had the 22 or 22 yard run, and then everything else kind of lived in that 3, 4, 5 range. But the credit for him goes is a lot of those 3, 4, 5 yard runs probably shouldn't have been 3, 4, 5 yard runs. He's making guys miss. He has just got some of the best feet that we've seen quite some time at the Florida running back spot. How he's just able to make guys miss, nimble, light on his feet for a big guy. I mean, he's worth all the praise that we give him. He is, to me, he's the best overall player on offense. He might be the best overall player on the Gator team.
It's been the best position under Billy Napier.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we can't
easily
question that for
running
sure.
back. Yeah. So that probably credits Jaluk a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna suck to see him go. Besides the whole
thing. All right, good stuff there for Florida Georgia review. Let's a little bit, guys. What are you thinking? Hugh Freeze out at Auburn.
I mean, kind of expected.
Yeah. Once you lose to Kentucky.
I live in Southeast Alabama. That was pretty expected.
Yeah, me too. What do you know? I live in Southeast Alabama.
Yeah, I just got back from the Peanut Festival.
Do you live in Dothan?
Daleville.
Okay, I live in Dothan. Cool.
There we go. Making connection. Making some Alabama connections right here.
Yeah, I'm going to the Peanut Festival Friday.
Good deal, man. It's a good show. Make sure you get that corn dog.
Yeah, I do it every year. I've been many years.
LSU fans gonna be there?
Nah, man, the corn dog man.
Yeah, these are way better than LSU corn dogs.
But yeah, I mean, lose to Kentucky at home. All right, so writing was on the wall. I think they really wanted to give him to the end of the year, but Kentucky not so good, letting them come into your building and get that win. So, look, we all know the Florida situation. It's lane till it's not. We'll see how it all plays out. If it's not lane for Florida, then this is maybe where the competition starts to come into play a bit. Who's Auburn going to go after? That might be on Florida's board, LSU's board. I mean, it's just a wacky time right now in the SEC. I mean, these are major programs in the SEC, that are now on the board for making a new hire.
I hope Auburn takes drinks so we don't have to get him.
Yes, thank you. You said it. Yes. Get him off our board. Perfect fit. Go to Auburn.
I mean, that's two schools now, Penn State and Auburn. I think that could be in play for him. So,
as long as it's not us. Oh, man, I know we talked about it last week. I just cannot. I'm still having trouble trying to wrap my head around getting behind him. I feel like if I'm that same way.
Yeah, the timeline might work out. Florida's willing to wait some time for Kiffin. Is Drink really going to wait with, Auburn and Penn State open if they want him?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it works out. I think that's worst case scenario for me is Drink here. So
I'm surprised it didn't work better there at Auburn with Freeze though. Like not saying I really expected competing for SEC championships or anything like that, but given his success at Ole Miss, and what Liberty before Auburn, pairing all that with the just experience that he had, okay, that's a good fit. I can see him making Auburn better, but no, he
didn't have a good quarterback. I mean,
no,
he put
there you go.
Eggs in the Jackson Arnold basket, and that just was terrible.
Yep. That was.
I mean, and plus his offense, man. I just don't know if his offense really. I mean, it probably could, but his offense is so reliant on a dual threat quarterback, and if there's not a dual threat like with Arnold, he really wasn't a great passer. I mean, he was all run.
Yeah.
And there you go. I mean, you ain't gonna get by like that.
He should have went after that the Oklahoma quarterback. I can't think of the name right now, but that should have been. Yeah, that should have been his quarterback.
Well, I think once his OC went to Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. No, I get why he moved to Oklahoma, but if I were Hugh Freeze, Mateer is way better than Arnold.
Well, yeah, Arnold came from Oklahoma, and Mateer. Where did Mateer transfer from?
Washington State.
Washington State. That's right. Yeah. So that was Hugh Freeze's problem.
I feel the same way about Drinkwitz. I mean, it seems like at least three of the last four coaches have just been a really solid case of square pegs and round holes, and I think he would just be more the same. But I mean, I know I'm probably in the minority here, but I think it's really, really funny that we're not hearing anything about Lincoln Riley, knowing he wants out there at USC, and if he leaves on his own accord, it's only a $2 million buyout.
Yep.
Yeah, obviously I want Lane too, and I still think we get him, until there's an extension there. And I don't think he's going to LSU at all, because who wants to put up with what's going on there?
It's Florida or Ole Miss. I mean, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's any school out there competing with us for Lane Kiffin personally.
I agree.
And maybe that's just orange and blue glasses.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Lincoln Riley, on the other hand, if he is an option, I would love for him to be our backup plan if it did work out with. But he's probably a big option for LSU, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But I would think if he's available.
If you're a big guy, I mean, Lincoln Riley's still a big name.
Yes, he is.
So it's still like we're talking about with Lane or anybody. I mean, do you want to go step in that situation? I mean, LSU really might be hurting themselves here, in weighing everything that's been going on, and they'll make some hires. I mean, they'll have a new AD soon. They'll have a new president soon, and maybe that puts them in a really good spot. But there's a lot of questions about the direction of, I mean, their athletic program and more specifically their football program while searching for a head coach.
Yeah, you don't even know who you're going to work for. I mean, you're going to work for the governor,
right? Yep.
Well, and they just fired their last coach after never having a losing season. But remember, Florida fans are the ones that are spoiled.
I mean, Auburn's going. Will you hear this stuff about Auburn too? Who's been going through coaches like crazy?
It's just us.
I mean,
we're the only toxic fan base out there.
Yeah.
How bad does the LSU job look if they don't have that title in 2019?
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
Well, the governor's going to make that hire. 6 of those 10 board members are handpicked by him, and that's the reason he says the board is going to select them. In other words, he is going to select them, and he is a huge Summerall guy. So I think Summerall is going to have that job there because, I mean, even if it, Lane, or not Lane, but Riley, I think as good as he is, I think this guy is one-tracked mind right now. I don't foresee Summerall going anywhere but LSU. I know it sounds crazy, but back to Riley, there's no question the guy is an offensive mastermind, and he's not as brash as like a Spurrier or even a Lane to a degree, but the guy has a little bit of an air to him.
Yeah.
You give that guy a premium defensive coordinator and let him have at it. And I think it's a really good identity for Florida football. That's what we want. We want high scoring points, and we want to look cool doing it. And that guy could do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we keep talking about Fitz, and he, while he may not be having the success at USC many thought he would because, being in LA and being able to recruit and NIL and all that, they've had their fair share of issues in that department, in that area that they've tried to get fixed. But with his offensive prowess, you're right. I mean, it could just be the fit he needs. Could be a fit a fit that marries well with him as well.
Well, and I can't help but think, are they being quiet about him by design, or because it just feels that way? Because I mean, it's kind of obvious he would be good there, and I mean, maybe they're just doing it not to sour Lane out. But I can't help but believe, especially with Trace Armstrong, former Gator, being his agent, that they haven't said, "Hey, would you be interested in this?" I have to believe that conversation has taken place.
Definitely got to keep the options open. I mean,
yeah, I'm still not 100% convinced Lane's going to leave Ole Miss. I just, like I said, maybe I'm just pessimistic because that's what Gator football has turned me into over the years. But I mean, maybe it just depends on how deep he goes in the playoff. I mean, if he's out in the first round, then he's probably going to be like, yeah, well, I can't get it done here. But if he wins a couple games, the family's a factor.
I mean, here's the thing.
I can still see it.
Right on that, we talk about timelines. It's a popular topic right now when we talk about Lane Kiffin. Because look, we know there's going to be interest in the Florida job from him. That doesn't mean he's going to take the Florida job. Doesn't mean he's not going to take the Florida job. I saw and I forgot who it was. a college football playoff projection, and Ole Miss is hosting Virginia in the first round. Obviously,
Okay, well,
Ole Miss is going to be favored in that game. So, and maybe by a couple scores. So, there you are. I mean, if that's the way it, because they're going to be one of the higher seeds. If they don't lose again, they may not make it to the SEC championship game because of who's in front of them and that loss to Georgia. But with Bama and Texas A&M, if they win out, I believe they are who will represent the SEC. But the loser of that game may drop below Ole Miss. I mean, so Ole Miss is going to be really, really highly ranked. And if they don't get, I don't doubt they get a bye if they don't win the SEC, but that means they're probably hosting a playoff game. So that means, their opponent may not be the best. And if it's one of the ACC teams, then their season is going to go a little bit deeper, likely.
It's going to come down to whether he thinks he can get it done at Ole Miss after it's all said and done. I mean, it doesn't happen this year, it's how far is he going to go, and does he think, okay, just a little bit more, and I can get it done here. I don't need to change. I don't have to uproot my family. And I mean, granted, the money is Ole Miss will find a way to pony up the money. I'm sure that's probably not going to be the issue. I don't know. Like I said, I don't feel like it's just a shoe-in. Like the internet's going crazy and everybody's saying, yeah, it's happening. I'm not as confident. But like I said, that could just be me.
I mean, I'm still encouraged, but if I had to go to Vegas right now, I'd put my money on Kiffin. But to your point, and I've said it plenty here in the Discord, I'm not hiding anything. I do think, and I've said this from the beginning, the more he wins there, the more it can get in his mind that he can get it done, like you said.
Yeah.
So to me, I think we ultimately do have to let this season play out. Now, is there a chance that he has to make a decision at the end of the season? Coming at it from every angle. If Lane Kiffin's going to be the guy and you're going to give him the keys to the kingdom, and that's the decision he has to make, look at it from all angles. Florida needs to know. Ole Miss needs to know. Because if you go leave Ole Miss, they got to get their ducks in a row to go search for a new coach. Maybe if he decides he wants Florida, he lets them know. So, they're not left out to dry sometime in January. So there's a lot of ways to think about this. And to me, the three parties are Lane Kiffin, Florida, and Ole Miss. And to me, for all the parties involved, it's best if he makes a decision, after the regular season. So all parties know and can move forward. I think I just think it's better.
The only thing I'll say to that is he didn't really let Tennessee know or get anything ready before he left for USC. Granted, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
and he was only there for a year. I think he's got a great reputation there in Oxford, and I think he really respects what Ole Miss has done for him, what Oxford has done for him. So, would he want to leave that if he's leaning towards taking the Florida job? Would he really leave them hanging?
The easy solution is us going to Oxford and beating them.
Control the narrative.
Exactly. Either that might knock them out of the playoff, or at least disrupt their their seeding, and then he'll look at like I don't know. That's
for lack of a better way of looking at it. If you can't beat them, join them.
Join them. That's right.
Have you heard anything, Dave? I know it's been real quiet this week, but
the interest is real. We just got to let it play out. I mean, that's where it is. He's, and even Ole Miss mods are saying it. Yes, he's interested in Florida. He's at least interested in listening to Florida. He has not made a decision. Let's let it play out. I'm going to get John in here. He's hopping in, and then we will call it a chat. You might have to unmute your mic, John, if you're ready to go at it.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey,
How
man.
you doing, fella?
Good, man. How about you?
Oh man, just laying on the couch, taking it easy, man.
I hear you.
Taking it.
Talking
Just
about
kind
taking it easy before I go further. I love the time change. I mean, I hate it overall, but if it has to happen, it happens at no better time than the weekend of Florida, Georgia, because I can always use that extra hour of sleep.
well, let
After
me tell
Florida,
you,
Georgia.
I work Sundays. I work every Sunday, and
Yeah.
I hate it. I do it because I make twice the money on Sunday,
I hear you.
and so it's a big deal. I can't afford to pass it up. But because of my long hours, I leave when it's dark and I come home when it's dark.
Yeah, I hate that part of it.
That's Yeah, it's not any fun. I just kind of been sitting here listening to everybody because I don't know if indifferent's the word. I don't have a lot to say. It's a lot of the same stuff, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, I saw things with the game yesterday that I could critique. A little bit of lifelessness with some of the guys. I felt like, just an example. We had that 4th and 1, and we had to rally up and get 1 yard. And I'm not opposed for going for it there. You can make a case for not going for it,
Sure.
hitting the three timeouts, few minutes left. Defense has been efficient. Okay, I hear you, but on the other hand, I was just watching the Bulldogs, man, and they looked like they were chomping at the bit, ready for the ball to hike, and our guys just looked slow and kind of lethargic. And I was just like, man, these guys just don't know how to win. And I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. But
it goes to that word culture a little bit. I was talking about this with somebody at the tailgate yesterday, and everybody. I think a lot of people were tired of the word culture. Because it hasn't really meant a whole lot.
I'm kind of sick of it too. Like, it means something, but I'm sick of it.
Right.
Too.
And what I said is, hey, look, the culture of the team is good. There are a lot of good people in that building. I will stand by that. That does not mean it's a winning culture. And that's what we're getting. It's a good culture, but it's not a winning culture. And there is a difference.
Well, I asked when Billy left if the locker rooms were going to still be clean. Actually, you guys were just talking about the coaching search and Kiffin, and I wrote it yesterday, and I don't know if anyone picked up on it because the chat was going wild, but before the game came on, SEC Nation was on, and they interviewed Lane Kiffin, and they were asking him briefly about some of the openings, and he went on about how it was an honor to be mentioned and this, that, and another. And the only thing I could think is he still hasn't shut it down.
Yeah.
He still has not put an end to any of it. And so, I mean, he's obviously, at the very least, he's shopping around.
And that goes to, Ole Miss AD a few weeks ago coming out, hey, we're trying to make him one of the highest paid coaches in college football. And I know Lane has said before that all this stuff comes at the end of the year and that, he doesn't really make himself available to handle these contracts and coaching jobs, all the availability out there till after the season. But with so much noise out there, he's either sticking to his guns on that, or, as you said, and as we think, he's certainly interested in the Florida job, maybe other jobs, but specifically the Florida job.
Well,
You're right. He could say, and there's things he could say in public. It may not be telling the truth, but to your point, he's not shutting it down. I mean, he could say, I'm not interested. I'm here with my team, and that's going to be the end of it. He could lie about it, and he's not. And he's not.
Hopped, skipped, and jumped around the question. He never answered the question and just went on, a little tangent there about, how great it is to be mentioned and acknowledged, but he never actually answered the question like coach talk.
Yeah.
And and if you're a coach and you're in his position, or any coach, even if you're not as coveted, but maybe your name's being mentioned in some coaching circles or whatever, you do one of two things. You do not talk about it if you have any intention of possibly moving till the season's over, because really it's unprofessional and possibly even unfair to your crew, your guys, your players, all that. Or you do mention it and you go ahead and you do sign a contract and deal with all that stuff because you plan on staying where you are. And you'll if you're staying where you are, you'll sign in the middle of the season. If you're contemplating, looking around, seeing what your options are at the very least, you're waiting until it's over. There's no end, and he hasn't shut it down. So I mean, he's obviously looking. So I mean, I think we've all come to that conclusion. I mean, I think the worst case scenario here is that because Kiffin is a master troll, if you will. Yeah, I could see him, carrying over another program until January, and then kicking their feet from underneath them and not coming. I think that he'd burn a lot of bridges doing that, but I mean, it wouldn't be a smart move. I think professionally, but it'd be a hell of a move.
Yeah, and Jimmy Sexton would probably advise him against that. I would imagine as well, but
that wouldn't be smart.
Yeah, so.
I haven't seen any Florida-related tweets since Napier was fired from Lane.
There was a spot the ball reference yesterday, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I must have
Yes,
missed
there
that one.
was.
Well,
yep, him and son and a dog. If that's the same one, that's the one I
these
saw.
have got to be direct shots at Napier, I think. I mean,
from what I can gather, I think he's very respectful of Napier. If I've heard right, so like I don't think there's any bad blood or anything like that.
Just Lane.
I'm not going to throw any names out there, but someone said last year, because I just don't want to put anybody's name out there, but they're in the chat, and they said last year that Billy was heard cussing behind closed doors because he doesn't like Lane.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but basically said that he can't stand that effing prick or something to that degree.
They are total opposites in personality.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you could definitely see them you could see Billy not liking Lane for sure.
Yeah, well, boys, we need a coach. That's all I'm going to say. We need a coach. We need a coach. Hey, you know what though? I know I want to get back to him. I almost wish it could. I'm not on the media, but I think overall, working with a QB that's developed some bad tendencies isn't 100%, isn't comfortable. Some limitations here and there, some depth issues. I think Gonzales did his Billy G did his best yesterday to step up to the plate and get it done for us. And win or lose, I actually appreciate the effort that that him and the guys put together. And yes, the game actually at the end pissed me off yesterday. We should have won that game. Yep. I wanted that win. I think it would have been great. But overall, their attempt at getting it done, at least the staff, I fully commend them for.
Yeah, and you brought up a point, and I'll end it on this because I know we talked so much lag way at the beginning. And you brought it to you brought it back to the forefront of my mind with that one. I do think some of it too, and just in general, I just don't think Lagway's very comfortable in this offense either. Like it's credit to him credit to him for coming here, but the offense is not best suited for him. So we'll see, where it goes from here on out, and maybe the more reps he gets with O'Hara and Callaway, they start still picking up on some things that he can do well and do better. But overall, it's just, I think some of the development issues is just not an ideal great fit for this offense. But it's tough when he's not a huge threat to run. He is missing open guys, so it's the offense looks rough right now, and I can also see whether it be Napier, whether it be Callaway, whether it be O'Hara, who's always involved. It's sometimes it's hard to dial up plays when your quarterback is not doing the whether it be through the air, on the ground, all doing those things well.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. Well, we know what's happened. I think a lot of people are, everybody's saying, hey, I'm done with DJ, put in another QB. And I completely understand the sentiment. I am going to reserve my judgment on that. I do think he should have been pulled at times this year. That doesn't mean that I'm done with him. Maybe he needs to be benched for the better of the team, for a better of his health, and maybe even, if nothing else, him not developing more bad habits because he's uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, I think that the situation that he was put in, basically, he's going to have to be Napier's savior. He's trying to be Florida's savior. He's injured and probably should have had surgery, and then he's got the pressure of Gator Nation coming down on him, the pressure to win, and an offense that we think he's not in. So I honestly think that he's being asked to cross a mountain that's just really, it's just not likely to get done. And we saw what he was before, even when he was in high school running, regardless of the competition. We're just talking about mobility here. I'm not saying he's a lightning rod or anything, but the guy could move. Clearly, he's gained some bad weight. He looks kind of baby fat, if you will, a little bit, and he just doesn't look as mobile. So I think he really needs a fresh start, whether it's a new staff and a new coach and a new system, or he goes to another school. I'm going to reserve my right to say that he's not any good. I think that he still has the ability to turn out and be a great QB, but he needs a little bit of a fresh start, and he definitely needs an off season. And I almost wonder now, since he didn't get surgery last year, if he's going to end up getting it this off season anyway, and then end up costing himself another season. But I don't know. He needs a long off season and a lot of reps.
Yep, I brought that up last night.
Agreed.
Yep, yeah, it's a tough situation. As we're talking about, you got a new coach coming in, and Lagway's go. I think first inclination will be to stay at Florida. So there's got to be some conversations. But how healthy is he going to be at the end of the year? And are we dealing with another offseason where he's going to miss some time? I don't know how much, but even if it's right after the season, spring could be in jeopardy. So it is an odd situation since, he didn't have it, like you said last year. Is it going to be another offseason where he's missing reps? And we have to ask ourselves the question, is he going to be able to take the necessary steps? So it is a very polarizing topic, but it does tell me you're going to have to bring in some competition. You can't be married to the situation.
I wouldn't be mad at him right now if he removed himself from the situation and went ahead and opted out and decided to get surgery right now so that he could, mend from the surgery and then start rehab in, February, you know what I mean, or whatever, and start really getting his feet back underneath him and be 100% by August. That's what I think his best move would be. I wouldn't be mad at him at all because it's a difficult situation. On one hand, you try to be loyal to a team, put the team first, and I totally respect that. But then on the other hand, you're no good for the team if you don't look out for yourself to an extent.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. And I'm like you, I wouldn't be mad at it either.
No, I mean there's nothing left on the table now except for a bowl game. You know what I mean? Whatever.
And
I don't really care.
I don't. That's what's our.
I don't think any of us care.
Yeah, that's not even guaranteed either. So
yeah, no, I don't think any of us care. I not one bit. And so yeah, for that, I think he needs to look out for himself a little bit. I think he's a good dude and he's got a lot of potential, and I think he needs to look out for himself a little bit because every time he runs, I'm gritting my teeth thinking, oh God, here he goes. He's about to break an ankle. So, but yeah, that's my 2 cents, guys.
All right. Well, good stuff. Thanks for hopping in here, guys, and really good discussion.
Thanks for having us, Dave.
Yeah, man.
thanks.
Have it all.
Thank you, Dave.
As always, Dave.
Yeah,
Go Gators.
Fun stuff. Go Gators.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one real quick thing, and you just brought it up. It just hit me.
Okay.
A few minutes ago, and I think it's a general consensus among all of us in here. We're angry about it, and I'm not a silver linings kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But in a sense, it's kind of refreshing because the last 2.5 weeks, it's been apathy. We weren't even mad. So that tells me, you know what? There's hope.
Gator Nation cares, man. I mean, we do, So part of that is it's Georgia. it sucked. You had
I think we should have won that game yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's not one thing that say it's owed to us. And that's one thing. I don't think it's owed to us. You got to win the game.
Yeah.
I also don't think that I'm not going to accept we could have won. Of course, we could have won. That's what the game is played for. But I actually think we should have won. I think that we outplayed them in a lot of ways, especially with those couple long drives in that second half where we were getting first down after first down. We should have just kept drilling them, man. And I told myself we went down for that one. I can't remember off the top of my head if we got a takeaway or if we stopped them on fourth down or third down or it was a 3 and out. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I said, because we did get the one interception and we got 3 points.
Yep.
Right. And instead of getting a touchdown, and I told myself, and I said it in the chat, if we go down right here after getting this extra down or this extra drive, if we only get 3 points here, I don't like our odds. If we get 7 here, I think we can put them away. And we ended up settling for 3 on a field goal. So, and it came to fruition because I knew that's what was going to happen. I knew them boys was going to get rowdy at the end, and just what I thought. And they shut it down and took it away. So
yeah, I mean, besides the Bama game, that's just what Georgia's done. They found a way. They keep finding a way to get these games. So. It was, like you said, you needed to take advantage of every opportunity that was given to you because that's just been Georgia's MO this year.
I have one last really genuinely quick question. Was that a catch or not?
No.
No? You don't think it was a catch, Dave?
I don't.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I saw one angle at the stadium, and I don't know if it was on TV or not. I saw the ones from the side. I was like, looks like a catch to me. Then they showed one
from behind and underneath.
From behind and underneath. And I still don't even know if it was the same one that I saw on the replay of the TV that I watched today. But when I saw it in the stadium, I was like, dang it, it's not a catch. So, but here's the thing. I do think if they called it a catch, it would have stayed that way. I do think in my best, in my heart of hearts, whatever it was called, it would have stayed as.
I don't like the rule where when they call something one way, you have to present undeniable evidence for it to be reversed. I think that if the call even needs to be looked at and addressed, that means there needs to be an open discussion that there is a possibility. And so I think it should be viewed from a neutral standpoint. That I don't like the rule. You got to present undeniable, evidence. I personally think that if you even considering that the call needs to be reviewed, then it automatically should be neutral because there's a chance you got it wrong.
Yeah. Interesting way of thinking about it. I think right or wrong, I think the reason that exists is to keep some human element in it. That's just my guess.
Yeah. Well,
and that could be, like I said, that could be completely, a wrong way of going about
it. Yeah, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
Good stuff.
You guys have a great night. Nice talking with y'all, man.
Y'all too.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep. Go Gators.
Go Gators.